Hey everyone, I hope that this finds you well. Welcome to another Employee Readiness program session. It's called You Got This. It's the confidence catalyst. And so we hope that you are excited about this one as you've joined us all quarter for a number of good sessions that I hope you can go back and check out if you haven't already and you're ready and excited to get started. So here's what we have on track for today. Today's agenda, we're going to go through the introduction, as we always do. We're going to talk about understanding confidence, the challenges to confidence, how body language and presence are important. We have a short, small little activity that we might actually skip for this because there's a lot of information to go through. But when we're in person, it gives us opportunity to truly practice our confidence and going through the motions. And so we'll probably talk a little bit about that activity when we get there. Mindset shift. Talk about the importance of our minds changing a little bit so that we can exude the confidence that we need. And then the achievable goals, set and accomplish. What that actually means, we'll dive into that. And finally, we'll have the takeaways and some actions that you all have the opportunity to get started with. And of course, the thank yous. First off, I want to say thank you for joining us today and spending this time with us on this morning. You could have been anywhere, but you decided to be here. So let me introduce myself. I'm Andre, also known as That Guy Amped on all social media platforms from Amp Speaks. We've teamed up with WeSERVE CDC, and we have the opportunity to partner with them for their WeCARE program. The heart of this is they're combating the lasting effects of COVID-19. As many of you know, some of you may have lost jobs. Some of you may have not had the food that you needed to sustain your homes. All WeCARE's program is trying to do is help you in those matters and in those areas. And they invited us to partner with them for employee readiness. For those that have lost jobs, we want to give you the skills that are needed to move forward in the opportunities that are before us. And so we want to make sure that nothing is missing, that we hit all the potential areas. There's so many areas that you can hit in employee readiness, but we've hit a number over this last year that we've had the opportunity with. And you're probably wondering why this is important. Look, there are so many lasting effects of COVID, from people having long COVID, from people losing jobs because of COVID, from people being displaced, and a whole litany of other things. The WeCARE program is ultimately to help kind of offset some of those symptoms that are still lasting even to this day. And so with this employee readiness, we want to equip you for being ready to be employed. And as we went through a number of our other ones, from resume building to interview prep to speaking, being that confident communicator, we also delve into some soft skill learning and mastering the soft skills, becoming a soft skill Jedi, right? We've also talked about a number of other opportunities in this. Today, we are focused on strengthening your confidence in you so that you can exude that confidence when you're going on to do other things, all right? So let's jump into it. We have a quick little icebreaker that I want us to take a few moments to think about. The icebreaker is very simple. It's a question that I want you all to think about for a few moments. If you could sit for coffee with any three people, dead or alive, who would they be? And while you're thinking about this, maybe think of some of the whys you're reasoning for behind it. And we'll give you all, let's go 30 seconds to kind of get that together, and then we'll move on. I have a lot to kind of share on this question and why. All right, so we got another 20 seconds. Ten, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. All right, put your pencils down. Let's get on with this. So the three people that you all may see on my screen are three people that I have deemed worthy of sitting down for coffee with me? Well, you all may recognize at least two of them. And of course, for me, President Obama is one of the ones that I would love to sit down with because he did something that no other Black man has done to this date, become the president of the United States. And so for me, I want to hear what his drive was, what was behind him wanting to be president and when it happened. Because he could have been anything from his lawyer background, and the president of the United States, wow. Next, you might be on the opposite end, Warren Buffett. Warren Buffett, I mean, he's a billionaire, but he's a great business mind. And so for me, sitting down with him gives me the opportunity, one, to pick his brain about some of the wins and some of the failures that he went through in his ascent to where he is now, as far as raising funds and building multi-billion-dollar companies, 500 companies, and all the philanthropy things that he's involved in, and so much more. And then finally, this is for me the most important person that will be sitting at the table for me. And this is the late Bishop Joseph Anthony Thompson of Louisiana too. Man, this man is actually my great uncle. And so I had the opportunity to grow up under him and just kind of listen to the type of person that he was. And one of the things that I will never forget, and it's a common quote that I hear now, but when I was growing up, he would always tell me that your attitude determines your altitude. And that stuck with me even today. And I reminisce many times of when I see pictures of him about that. And so this is one of those people that exuded some confidence before me. And so, yeah, so that's why I had to pick these people. One of the things that I have noticed in asking this question is many people pick on most often somebody that they lost because there was something about them that stood out, whether it was a situation of why they lost them, maybe they were a relative, maybe there was somebody that they were really close to, but there was a sense of confidence that remained in them. Then it tended to be somebody that is in an area or location of where they're trying to get to, whether it is business minded, business focused, whether it is they're an artist, whatever their career aspirations to, sometimes and most often, they align with someone that is dealing in that realm of leadership or something along those lines. And then finally, the third person can be someone really random because most people come up with the two real easy. And the last one is like, oh, who am I pick? But then other times that they have that vote of confidence, they exuded confidence, they stand tall in what they're doing. And it's in a litany of people. And so we all have that opportunity. So for those of you that picked, we may go over them. Drop them in the comments and let me know who you picked. Let me know why. I would love to hear about your picks. Let's keep going. All right. All right. So let's talk about understanding confidence. Confidence is one of those things that we hear all the time. And it can easily be confused with arrogance. But first, before I dive into the difference between confidence and arrogance, let's talk a little bit more about confidence. Think about a parent. Think about your parent. If your parent was anything like my parent, when you were young, they taught you everything, right? They spent so much time doing different things in our lives, creating a routine, creating repetitive habits with us, that it allowed us to build a confidence, oh, that they know what they're doing, right? As we continue to grow up, we learn more about what it was that our parents were doing, what they were showing us. And when we got to be adults, because of the repetition and the routines that they built into us, there was a confidence that, hey, if they said A, we knew that A was going to happen, right? If they said, hey, do this and this will happen, because of those routines, those patterns that they led before us, we had that confidence that they were going to do that, or that was going to be the outcome, right? Let's be honest. When they said, hey, I'm going to spank you if you do such and such, it wasn't often that if you did such and such, that they didn't spank you. Let's be honest. We all knew to expect. If they said, I'm going to spank you if you do such and such, You usually got spanked when you did it, right? So we had that confidence that when it came to disciplining us, that they were going to do it, what they said they were going to do. All right. And so for us, confidence came in the routine and the repetition because we saw consistently them doing one thing. We knew that there was an outcome that would come to it. And because of the routine that they built into our lives, we knew that, hey, we get up in the morning, we get ready, we go to school, we come home, we spend time, dinner, homework, with good grades. And when we follow that routine, it helped us out in getting to where we are now, right? But also some of the other things that we dealt with them is the integrity and the consistency. With a parent, when they were telling you the truth and they lived a life of integrity, you were confident that regardless of what they were faced with, that integrity would shine supreme. And when they were consistent in doing things for you or showing up when you needed them, you were always expecting them to show up. So that one time that maybe they didn't, you knew that they could, or when they could, or when they could, they would be there, right? And so that consistency showed up when I know that mom shows up for every game. Unless hella high water, mom is going to show up for a game, right? And so it's that consistency that they have and they build in with us that gave us the confidence. All right. So Webster defines confidence as a feeling or consciousness of one's power or of reliance on one's circumstances. For all of us, think of it this way. Our confidence for ourselves rely in our ability to have routine, to have that repetition. And once we build those, we have those consistently, right? The integrity of ourselves based off of the confidence in our integrity harps on us having those routines, harps on us having those repetitions in our life that create those habits. So we are confident that, oh, I have consistently done A and it has led to B. If I consistently continue to do A, it's going to lead to B, right? We build that confidence. Confidence isn't something that just happens. You have the ultimate confidence. Now, as a child with your parent, we give them all the confidence that we have in them because that's what we know, right? That's what we ultimately set as our litmus test, confidence, because that's what we start with. But confidence in ourselves comes with finding that repetition, finding that routine, knowing when things work, we consistently do those things and they work. It's when things don't work and we find that the consistency changes because they don't work. So we don't have confidence in those things that don't work, right? So this confidence for ourselves is knowing ourselves enough that we can have confidence in what we do and how we execute. We have that integrity that stands, that consistency that is good no matter what is going on. And because we've built up those confidences. And so that's the focus of this. The focus for us is to build up that confidence in self. Now, you all know me, and my confidence first comes from God. And you all might say, this is employee readiness. Why would you talk? Because for me, that's where my confidence stems first. My confidence in God allows me to have confidence in the abilities that God has made me. And when I fall short, when I'm weak, I know that He makes up for it. All right. And so that allows me to have confidence in the ability to build in certain areas, build repetition, work out that so that I know that it works. All right. All right. So what are some of the challenges that come with our confidence? Now, if you do anything, there's always a challenge, right? If you're trying to innovate anything, there's always some hurdles to jump over. There's always some things that you're going to have to deal with, that you're going to have to be faced with. There's always challenges that are leading to that. So, of course, with us having confidence in ourselves to move and talk and speak, there are going to be some other things on the other side that say, are you really good at that? Or are you just faking it? Right? And so for us, we're going to deal with that. Now, a big one is that exaggerated version of our confidence, which leads to arrogance, where we have an unrealistic view of the confidence that we have in our abilities. Whereas you've never done let's see, you've never gone to the moon, right? So to tell somebody, oh man, I can go to the moon and get there and so forth, but you've never done it, you can't really say that you have confidence in it, right? If you've never tied your shoe a day in your life, can you say that you have confidence in tying your shoe? No, but sometimes people can have that arrogance about them. They're, oh man, I can do this, 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 and this. When in actuality, they've never done that. Or maybe they've done something at the very elementary level and haven't worked up to that level to do other things. Case in point, as a graphic designer, I don't claim to be the best there is, the best there ever was. It's not my claim to fame. But I know that my skills are in such that I have confidence in, if I'm asked to copy something, recreate something, I can do it. Sometimes it requires me, playing around and messing some things up, but I know that I can do it. That's where the confidence comes in. I'm not going to say, oh yeah, I can do a grandiose mural without any help and paint it by hand. My strength isn't in that. While I can paint, I'm not fantastic enough to put up a mural unless it's a mural by numbers. And I wouldn't even say I'm amazing at doing something along those lines either. But I can follow directions. So some of the challenges that we find with confidence, these are some of the common obstacles we find with them, is like the fear of failure. Now, we often talk about the fear of failure because the fear of failure is something that is applicable all day, every day. With anything that we're trying to do, the fear of failure has an opportunity, right? If you're trying to do something new, there's an opportunity to fail. Even when you're doing something that you've done a million times, there's an opportunity to fail. Like, I've created logos for a number of companies, a number of organizations, and sometimes I bring a logo that, based off of what the information that they've given me, this is going to be a fantastic logo. They're going to love it based off of the color scheme, the whole nine, everything's laid out. Bring it to them. We hate it. What? You hear that one time too many, and you're like, okay, what is wrong with this situation? Why do you hate this logo? But there is opportunity to fail at every turn, but we can't let fear beat us in that, right? We can't. Getting confidence requires that you stand up to fear a little bit. And so we're going to hit some of the pluses about this later on. Another obstacle, imposter syndrome. Feeling like you shouldn't be in the room. You might have the credentials for it. You might have worked on it for 10 years, but somebody that has 15 plus years, or they're asking you questions and you might feel like, can I give this information to them? Or maybe you might find yourself in situations where you are the low man on the pole, but because you've done something in your spare time, you may know something. But because there's so many other subject matter experts, you might feel like, I don't belong in this conversation. I don't have a duck in this. And so we ourselves have to kind of overcome that imposter syndrome. All right, next, comparing ourselves to others. How many of you do this? I do it all the time. I'm not even gonna lie. I compare myself to others along the same path. They're doing the same thing, or they're doing something very similar. It's like, oh, well, why are they doing that? And I'm not doing that. I've been at it longer, but they're doing this, and whoa. That can be one of the biggest things to shatter our confidence and our abilities when we compare how we get to somewhere for somebody else. And who knows? Just because they have on paper 2 or 3 years of experience doesn't mean that they don't have experience that is beyond the paper. And sometimes we can have the same thing. And comparing ourselves to others, we may look at resumes all day and say, ooh, I don't have nearly as many skills as the person does. And so we got to get out of that mindset of comparing ourselves to others. All right. Negative self-talk. Do me a favor. Stop saying, oh man, you suck at this. Why? What good does it do you? Oh man, you could have done better than that. Like, how worthless are you? What? Why would you say that to yourself? But many times we are the first victim of failure. We're the first victim of something not going the way we expected it to go. And so we will beat ourselves up with words, whether we speak them out loud, whether we just speaking them to ourselves. and we're tearing down our confidence in ourselves. It's not good enough. It doesn't help anybody. It's definitely not helping you get over that hump or get over that hurdle. And sometimes negative self-talk can lead us into situations where we don't want to be in. All right. Lack of support or encouragement. You don't feel like you're being supported, or the support that you expected to be there isn't there. Or you don't have the people around you that are encouraging you. People are looking at you to do something, but you don't have that support that you feel like you needed, that keeps you going, that keeps you motivated in it. Because sometimes tasks can take a long time to get to, or goals can get a long time to reaching them, but you don't have that confidence in yourself simply because you lack that support. You think you're doing the right thing. Based off of what you're doing and what you're accomplishing, it seems like the right thing. But to hear somebody else say that, go ahead, keep going, you're doing a great job, you feel like that's missing. Or people aren't catching a hold of the vision, right? People aren't able to understand the vision, and that kind of leads you down that path of, oh, maybe I didn't hear right, or maybe the vision's wrong or incomplete. Keep going, all right? So how do we overcome some of those things that we just talked about, some of those challenges to confidence that we just talked about? Let's go down the list. Give yourself permission to fail. One of the biggest opportunities you could ever do for yourself, dealing with the fear of failure, give yourself permission to fail. And if you do fail, when you fail, because for some things, it's inevitable that you will fail the first time. That doesn't mean get stuck there. Doesn't mean you get lost down the rabbit hole of, woe is me, I'm so bad at this, oh, I can't accomplish this. Miss me with that, all right? Get out there and give yourself permission to fail. Do me a favor in that permission to fail. Make sure that if you fail, take away what you can learn from it. Look at every angle to see what you can learn from that failure and implement it the next time. Because just because you fail doesn't mean that you won't pass it the next time, or the next time, or the next time. Don't stop at failing once. Give yourself permission to fail and see how it works wonders. All right? Self-awareness. What about you do you know? Where are you strong? What are your skills, both hard and soft skills? Where do they thrive? What are your gifts and your talents that you have? Know yourself. Know what's important to who you are. And the better you know yourself, the better you're aware about your emotions, the better you're aware about your temper, the better you're aware about the things that are important to you, who you are as a person, the better you can share with others who you are. And that leads and strengthens the confidence that is you, because you can talk about yourself when needed. No, not saying that you're bragging. Excuse me. Not saying that you're cocky, not saying that you're arrogant, but you have to know yourself such that when it comes to time to talk to people, especially in interviews, that you are aware of your strengths. You are aware of your weaknesses, and you're able to speak to them confidently, knowing that they're not just a weakness, but you know how to overcome them. All right? Practice compassion for self. You got to give yourself a little bit of grace. We're not going to be perfect. It's just not in us to be perfect. And everything that we approach doesn't mean that we have to be perfect. Perfection is not something that we can accomplish on our own. And we're not intended to be perfect, right? That's not our focus. Some people can get so focused on perfectionism that they don't do anything. Give yourself some grace. You mess up, dust yourself off, and keep moving. You say the wrong thing, apologize, cover, recover. Bang. Like, give yourself some compassion, because we all need it. If you don't forgive yourself or give yourself the compassion that is needed first, how can other people? How are you going to hear other people? You may not have offended anyone, but if you feel like you have, and you're not willing to give yourself compassion or give yourself that forgiveness that is needed in that moment, you will think the worst of yourself in front of people, and they'll see it. All right? Speak kindly to yourself. Just like you can speak negatively to yourself, you can speak kindly to yourself. And it can set you up for some amazing things because you're not dwelling on past situations. You're looking forward at things that you can do, that you are striving at, that you are putting in front of you, that you're focused on getting to and getting accomplished. Speak kindly to yourself, and it'll make all the difference in the world. Do me a favor. If you don't have a mentor or support or coach or something along those lines to help you get to that next level, hit me up. Drop us an email. Because mentors and having someone to talk through things, bounce ideas off of that are non-biased to what you're doing can be some of the biggest helps and advocates for what we're doing in our lives. And so finding the right mentor, finding the right coach, finding somebody that's going to support you, that's going to support the vision, that's going to support the dream that's before you can make all the difference in boosting your confidence. And we all want to have boosted confidence so that we can get things accomplished, right? All right, let's move on. Body language and presence. Have you ever walked into a situation or a conversation or had a presentation where you are part of and you noticed that the person's body language said that they were really nervous? Maybe they were tapping their pencil on something. Maybe they were sweating bullets and wiping their face every 30 seconds. Maybe they were, moving around or not moving around, and maybe their arms were crossed. Something about them said that they weren't available. They weren't accessible. But for body language and presence, with confidence, there is a way, there are some keys to our body language that will tell people yay or nay. But it's really dependent on us and us pretty much practicing. So let's go over some of the keys. Body language in and itself is important, and it's everything that we're doing. The key elements of it are posture. Make sure that when you're presenting to others that you're composed, that your shoulders are back, that you're standing tall wherever you find yourself. You want your posture to look well. Even when you're sitting in a chair, make sure you have that 90-degree angle at your legs so that your feet are flat and it's solid. It's real solid. But sit up. Don't slouch, because if you're slouching, you're closing yourself off there. But when you sit up tall and you're sitting up strong, people are more inclined to hear what you have to say because it looks like you have confidence. It looks like you're in the right place at the right time. Making good eye contact. When you're talking to people, it is more inviting to look them in the eyes. And when you're talking to multiple people, making that eye contact around the table can make all the difference with keeping people engaged. And if you always look at one person, like, oh man, this is getting kind of awkward because you're always staring at one person. But when you're making that eye contact, it allows people to connect with you differently. And it's important to all that you're doing. Making contact with them allows you to build that relationship. You may never talk to this person ever again, but because you spent time looking at them, connecting with your eyes, and as you're talking, they're hearing you more clearly. It's like you're focused, laser focused directly on them. And every word that you've given is for them because you're making that eye contact. Your facial expression. Have you ever heard the saying that your face is telling on you? Or do you know that you make expressions where your face is telling on you? Maybe you entered into a conversation or overheard something you probably shouldn't, yeah, that facial conversation or I don't know, your eyes moving all around. Your facial expressions can sell you or they can defeat you. So be careful what your face says. If you have a good poker face, people don't know what you're thinking or where you're going, how you're moving amongst them. But keep your facial expressions to a minimum when they're not needed. Now, if you're an actor or something, you might need to use your facial expressions in what you're doing because it's important that you understand why you're making the expression and what you're telling or conveying with those facial expressions. Some facial expressions can say that, yay, you approve what's going on. And others says, while you're saying yay with your hands, your whole face is like, not today. So your facial expressions can be inviting or they can turn people away. So be aware of the facial expressions that you make. My wife always tells me all the time, "You have a mad face." And I'm like, "I don't have a mad face. I don't have different faces." And she's like, "Yes, you do. Everybody has different faces." This is true, but sometimes I don't know that I have a mad face until people are like, "Oh, that's your mad face." What you talking about, Willis? So be cautious, be aware of your facial expressions because it's important for all of us, right? All right, next, gestures. How are you using your hands? How are you looking and engaging at others? Is it that you're just kind of moving all over the place and it makes no sense and it has no rhyme or reason as to what you're doing and you're just making things up? Or is it more focused? Is it more drawing people in to what you're talking about, the conversation that's at hand? Does it make sense as to why you're using those gestures? And so when you use the gestures that make sense, people are following the gestures, you're pulling them more into the conversation. But if your gestures are just, don't make any sense whatsoever as to what you're doing, and it doesn't follow suit to what you're talking. You're not giving off the confidence that you want to. All right. So be careful. Don't just use your hands because you've seen other people use your hands. If you're not comfortable using your hands, find a position that works for you without putting them directly in your pocket, without crossing them and closing yourself off. Find gestures, find things that make the most sense to you. If you have a podium in front of you, rest them on the podium. You don't necessarily have to use your hands that much unless you have a clicker or something, and just be conscious of what you're using them for. All right. Next, your voice and your tone. It's all in how you say it. Many times our voice can be really, really excited. As you know me, very energetic, always excited, ready, excuse me, to give you all information, vital information that can help and assist you because I talk really fast and my voice and my tone tend to match that, right? But your voice and your tone may be very different, especially when coming to a very serious part of the conversation. You may go into a deeper register and talk about something that has hit home for you for the very first time, and you're setting the tone for everything else that's going on in this conversation. You want people to be stuck on every word that you're sharing with them, and your tone has to draw them in such a way that they're looking to what you're going to say next. But it's all a matter of how you use your voice. If you're talking, and if you're whispering, or if you have a very monotone voice that stays about the same level, the same register, like Bueller, Bueller, all the time, people are going to fall asleep on you. And that's not, we can't have that. We can't have that. Y'all came here to have fun. Y'all came here to be excited about talking about confidence. Yeah, woo. You got to have that confidence. So you check your voice, your tone. One of the easiest ways to do it is practice. Practice projecting confidence. How do we practice? Look at yourself in the mirror when you're doing something. Look at yourself on your phone. Stop your camera when you're giving a presentation. And look, if you exude confidence, one of the beautiful things about me being able to do this, I can see myself. And I'm able to see if I'm talking directly to the camera or if I'm looking one way or the other. It's one of those things that really helps me to practice exuding that confidence, sitting up straight, really delivering the message and hitting home. You spend the same time too. Look at yourself. Look at how you're talking, look at how you're communicating. If you're going to an interview, you're going to practice some questions. Do that on camera so you can see how you talk, how you're sharing. Put yourself on a table and record yourself. Go back and forth about the different questions, the different answers that you can come up with. The more you practice, the more confidence it builds. Remember, we're building confidence that we can be the confident people that we desire to be when it comes to looking for a job, when it comes to obtaining the job that we are looking for, when it comes to interviewing. We want to have that confidence. When it comes to writing our resume, there has to be confidence. When we're sitting with other people to make connections and make networks and build our network, there has to be confidence in what we're saying, in what we're doing, and what we're sharing. And your body language can make the difference. So practice. Spend some time in practice. All right. So The activity that I have for you all, and I want you to be thinking about it, is ultimately, I wanted to give you all some talking points. So some very high talking points in the sense of a scripture or a script on something that you ultimately would create, right? As part of it, you would talk about how you would overcome a rough situation. How would you talk about that? How would you open your mind to the possibilities? And when we allow ourselves to get into teams, we get to break up some of those ideas. And I wanted to have a spokesperson from each team. And so we might do that after we get off the screen here and spend some time with some of the people in the class and really get to understand what's going on in this activity. But with this, I want you all to spend some time thinking about how you would speak to people about overcoming a tough situation. In that, I want you to write down 3 points that you would tell them that would encourage them. One, first, let's tell them a story. Tell them a story of how you first overcame something because you've got to grab their attention. Second, those 3 points that you would leave with them so that they can overcome a situation. And then finally, kind of wrap it all up in a nice little bow so that they can take it home with them after this. So I'm gonna give you all roughly let's give you about a minute or two to think of some things that you might say to others. Think about a story that you can put it down real quick as far as that quick story, whether it's just bullet points that will remind you of the story that you want to tell. And then those 3 points that you would share with someone else or a group of people to help them overcome a situation that is tough. And then finally, come up with 2 or 3 points that will reiterate the 3 points that you said without saying the same points at the same time. All right, does that make sense? All right, so I'm gonna stop sharing for a moment, throw a little background music on to allow you all to think about this. I thought I had it queued up and it wasn't, but we're gonna keep going nonetheless. And we're gonna take a few minutes to work on these ideas. And I'm going to share this music with you as well. There it is. Okay. Please don't fall asleep on me. that's the only thing that I ask, that you don't fall asleep on me. And I'm gonna share this real quick for you all. All right, just make sure y'all can hear that. Again, remember to keep it simple. It doesn't have to be a long, drawn out thing, but make sure that you have a few bullet points that work for you. All right, we're going to take one more minute and then we'll jump right into the rest of our session. right. Okay, so let me cut that off. All right, so that was just a quick couple minutes. Do me a favor. If you're in the chat, if you're at home watching, drop me one of your keys to overcoming a difficult situation in the chat for me. That would be great. We can share it around, show it around on this end so people can see it. But do that for me so that we can just share about being in this room together. I want to make sure that everybody is feeling included in what we're doing and how we're going in this. This was a quick, easy activity. And as you build it out, we're going to practice it. We want to practice it, okay? All right, with that being said, with that being done, let's continue on. All right, so this part is about a mind shift change, right? We've talked about some of the challenges that we are all faced with when it comes to confidence in ourselves, right? We talked about the fear of failure, the imposter syndrome. We talked about not having the support that we feel that we need in times when we're trying to accomplish things. And so here, our goal is to shift your mindset. We're focusing more on doing the positive, right? We're focusing more on enhancing those positive things that we mentioned as far as overcoming the negative ones with. This is where we take place of committing ourselves to changing our mindset, all right? So self-talk. Now, you hear this all the time, and many of us do it. We don't want to always admit it, but we are often talking to ourselves. And one of the ways, well, I'll give you 3 ways that you can assist yourself in better self-talk. And it's not that we are speaking things into existence. That's not the focus, right? But our goal here is to prep ourselves mentally for things that make sense and help build our confidence, right? And here are 3 ways: affirmations, scriptures, and quotes. These 3 are huge for me, especially scripture. I told you all at the beginning that my faith is important to me. And as I've talked to you all in the last year, you've seen it in pieces of our presentations that faith is a huge thing for me. So scripture that says, look, hey, you're on the right path is always good. Even if it's just reading scripture or allowing God, the Spirit of God, to share certain scriptures with me, it often helps encourage me to keep moving forward. Because let's be honest, it's life. It speaks life into me. There are quotes that resonate with us, that have resonated for a long time. As I mentioned, my Uncle Joe said, your altitude is determined by your attitude, or your attitude will determine your altitude. He spoke that to me growing up all the time. Every time I saw him and we had a few moments to talk or share with me, that was one of the things he was consistent with reminding me about. And then affirmations. These things are affirmations are focused on speaking life into you, not beating you up, but sharing positive thoughts that as you use them, as you talk to them, as you just speak them, you think more about them, it shares more into you and it encourages you a little bit to keep going. All right. So using those are important. Positive self-talk can go a long way in what we're trying to do and trying to accomplish. My question for you is, how are you growing? You know, a tree has to grow. That's their job. They're in the ground to grow, provide fruit. But there has to be the right combination of things for them to have in order for them to grow. We are no different. We are like trees planted by the river. For us to grow, there has to be the right accommodations for us to grow. And so one of the things that is important for us is being continual learners, continuously learning, continually picking up new things, learning new things, available to learn new things, always looking for opportunities to learn new things. For us, it keeps us encouraged, especially in areas that we want to be experts in. If you said, I want to be an expert in A, but I'm learning stuff about B, you're probably not going to be an expert in A. But even though you know the basics in A, to be an expert, you have to continue learning. And many things continue to grow and evolve and change, especially with with IA, with IT, with arts, with ways of creating things. All of this stuff is always growing. Finances, accounting, there are new things added all the time, right? So being an expert, and it means that you're continually learning ways to do things, processes that better enhance. So always be in the mindset of continually learning. And it will help you grow above and beyond what you've even imagined or have been thinking about doing. All right. And then secondly, skill set development. As I kind of hinted to in the continual learning, as you're continuing to learn about the world around you, that skill set that you have, invest in it. Invest in learning more about the skills that you have, the talents that you have. If you are a piano player and you've played piano for a number of years, just by happenstance or playing by ear, take a class. Jump into class, learn more from a class, the structure of how it goes, right? Understand that and grow in it. Look for other people that play. Get information with them, connect with them, develop the skill set. If you're an artist and you've only ever painted with acrylic paints, learn new mediums, oils, inks, learn how to manipulate them, clays. If you're an artist, enjoy what's out there. Developing your skills, you're not limited to one skill set just because you have it, but understand that find skills that accomplish or work in harmony with the skill set that you already have, that you're building already. You don't want to just learn random skills. Like if you're, say, an engineer, do you need basket weaving? Probably not. But if you find that basket weaving is something that helps you focus and think about things more differently, then learn basket weaving. I'm being a little facetious, but find things that make sense to what your life and your aspirations of building confidence. You want to be a CEO of a company? You might need to learn some leadership properties. You might have some leadership skills about you, but learning more couldn't hurt, right? Learning different leadership styles may be very applicable to your skill set. So as part of your mind shift, bring in more positive things, bring in things that are learning, be open to learning. I challenge you with this continuous learning that you spend time getting to know yourself, but at the same time, in this continual learning, learn something new every day. If you haven't learned something new every day, then you're doing yourself a disservice when you could. It's easy. You got Google at your fingertips. You can learn something new every single day without fail. All right. So put that into your repertoire. Change your mindset. Shift it a little bit. Find some quotes, find some scriptures, find some affirmations that can cater to you, that can speak to you, that speak and resonate with who you are as a person and where the vision that God has given you to move forward so you continue to build that confidence. All right, let's go. The achievable goal, set and accomplish. Now, I know many of you know about setting goals, and goals are important, but we have to make sure that we are setting achievable goals so that we can get to them. It helps you build confidence when you are accomplishing a goal that you set, right? You see how that works? You set a goal that is realistic, that makes sense, and you accomplish it. It builds confidence in that skill set. It builds confidence that you are learning what you need to be learning. You see how those kind of go hand in hand? So let's talk about it. Set SMART goals. SMART, as you all may remember from our other session on goal setting, specific, measurable, achievable, realistic, and time-based. Those are the 5 points that each letter in SMART stands for. Now, as I mentioned, we have a session that is focused solely around goal setting. And for this one, I'm gonna need y'all to go check that one out. It's on here, it's in the playlist somewhere. Go and check that one out so that you can truly dive into the goal sets, the setting SMART goals, whether they be long-term goals or short-term goals. Go check that goal setting session out and just be encouraged by it and set some goals that make sense for you. As part of the goal setting, you're gonna have to track them. Put them in CRM or something where you can legit track them as you're accomplishing them. You can check them off, put them in the to-do list. Google, your Google accounts have to-do lists that you can actually work and set up things in them and track them that way. However it works best for you. If it's your sticky notes on your desktop, if it's a agenda or something that makes sense for you, use them so that you can track the goals. Follow the progress. That's ultimately what it is. As you're tracking, you're following progress. You're sharing with yourself. That's helping you build confidence. Oh, I'm getting closer to finishing this goal. I'm getting closer to making this happen. And when you accomplish it, do me a favor and reward yourself. It is so easy to reward yourself. It doesn't have to be something big and grandiose unless you want it to be big and grandiose. But this is for the benefit of encouraging yourself to keep going. And that continues to enhance the confidence. When you're rewarding yourself, when you're taking the time to do that, it helps you build better. All right? If you put in the work, you deserve it. So that's ultimately what it is. You deserve it if you put in the work. If you take the time to do it, you set the goal, you accomplish it, enjoy it, reward yourself, pat yourself on the back a little bit to help yourself keep moving forward. All right? So last but not least, the takeaways, the actions, and the thank yous. This part is easy for me, right? Remember the parents. At the top, we talked about how we understand confidence, right? That for us started with the parents. A parent helps you by the repetition, the routine that they build in you, that integrity that they show, and their consistency. Confidence doesn't just happen, it has to be built. It's something that we build in what we're doing and how we're accomplishing things and how we're moving towards things. All right. Next, confidence versus arrogance. Confidence is the belief that you can in the abilities that you're doing. You have shown, you have proven it. You hold that confidence. Arrogance is focused on an exaggerated version of confidence. Like your skill set is at level A, but you're acting like it is at level F. Okay? Big difference, huge difference. You might be entry level focused, but you're acting as if you're senior level. Doesn't compute. You're speaking as if you're senior level when you can't accomplish that. That leads and bleeds into that arrogance level. Okay? So be careful. Be careful. Be confident is okay. Avoid cocky, avoid arrogance, because people will tell it. And it's easy to spot those most often, the ones that are bigger than their britches say they are, so to speak. All right? It's okay to fail. You're not an imposter. You can do this. Get yourself some mentors where you need it. All right? It's okay to fail. Give yourself permission and move forward. You're not an imposter. Know and understand what you bring to the table. If you bring the whole table, then know you bring the whole table. All right? You can do this. You can get through this. You can make it happen. And for those that need the support, get you a mentor, get you a coach. And like I mentioned, if you want to be involved with me in coaching and so forth, then hit me up and I'll leave all of that stuff at the end so you can check out how you can contact us. All right, get you a mentor. One of the biggest things, dress for the day. Your body language will tell on you. If you're dressed any kind of way, you're not confident in it, it will help if you dress for the day. You may not feel amazing, right? But if you're dressing for what you're going to accomplish today and not how you're feeling, it can make all the difference in the world. Always be your genuine self. You don't have to put on nobody. Being yourself allows you to be more confident in who you are as a person. And so as you share yourself, it allows others to be more confident in who you are as well. All right? Remember how to talk to yourself. Stop all this negative talk. Do yourself a favor and talk peace into your life. Talk confidence into your life. Talk calmness in situations. Talk even in difficult obstacles that you can find a good silver lining to it to keep moving forward, because there is more to you than the situation that you find yourself in. All right? Be continuous in learning. Every opportunity that you can find yourself in, learn something new. I'm telling you personally, my big thing for you today is, my big challenge for you today is learn something new. If you haven't learned something new, go find something. If you've learned something new from this, leave something in the comments that you've learned new that you can take with you immediately. Let's do that. Let's blow up the comments with things that you learned new today, so that we can say that we're continually learning. We're open to learning often. All right. Finally, set some goals you can achieve. Those SMART goals, make sure that you set them and you're doing them, right? You're accomplishing them. You're rewarding yourself. All those pieces, because goals are meant to be achieved, especially when you're doing them right. You're looking at them. And finally, as I always say, it's more than just practice. Spend some time in it. Spend some time getting to know who you are. Spend some time understanding what's important to you and understanding the gifts and the talents that you have. Understanding all that you are so that you can share with others. It is important to your life that you understand who you are and that you take the time to practice, to share, to speak things out, to get more comfortable with who you're talking about, what you're talking into your life, what you're sharing with yourself. It is vital to your very existence. And if you want your dream job, you got to spend some time in practicing showing your best self, always. Don't be fake, don't be phony. Share yourself. All right? And finally, thank you all so much for tuning into our final session of the Employment Readiness this quarter. I truly thank you for taking the time each and every session to come and join me and the team here at AMP Speaks to really get some things going and get some things moving so that you all can move to some greater things that God has in store for you and that you're looking to do and accomplish in your life. We hope that you gain some new knowledge from this and you're looking forward to moving forward in the purpose that you are made for. It's cool. I'm excited for you. And I hope that in doing this and following some of the other sessions, that you're able to truly accomplish the job, the career, that dream job that you wanted to land all this time, that you are able to get it because you followed some of the tips, you spent time practicing, you become a better public speaker because you've taken that note out of a copy to communicate session, or you found yourself making more realistic goals because you went to our goal setting session. Resume writing, any of those that you've checked out, we hope that they truly helped encourage you to do and set yourself up better, that you're one job closer or one interview closer to your dream job. Remember me, I'm that guy, Amp, also known as Andre from Amp Speaks. Feel free to text me if you want to join one of our group calls, or if you just want some one-on-one coaching, feel free, drop me an email. Check us out at ampspeaks.com to see what other things that we offer. Check out our blog as we're continuing to build new content and so forth. I'm that guy on all social media platforms, and check out our YouTube channel as we're building some of the content that you're seeing here in these sessions. We're breaking them out into smaller sections so that you all can take them with you on the go. They can be quick reminders of something that we said, and you can move forward in the purpose that you are made for. Whoa, I'm excited. So know that I love you. God loves you even more. And until next time, be inspired, be edified, be encouraged. Put God first in all that you do. Love unconditionally, do what you love, and always live an amped life. Let's get amped, and we'll see you next time.